I'm a cartoonist and a media artist from Washington, D.C.
What do you do? What kind of art?
Posters and magazine art and stuff. Here, got a phone or
Let's see it.
have fun.
Mike Flugennock. My man, sinkers.org, all day. I'm gonna look it up. Whether you like it or not.
Okay, have a good time.
Some of the original pencil work for the Bernie Sanders drone cartoon, and it usually goes in 3 steps. That's the original pencil and graphite stick art that formed the base for the whole thing. Then I do all my shadow and highlight hatching on a separate overlay that gets scanned and dropped over that. Then if there's any other special kind of stuff, like the psychedelic paint job in the second frame of that, that's how that was done. Let's see, what else have I got in the pile? This is some of the ink art for the Hungarian flag. And that's the top panel there. And that's for the center, that's for the barbed wire. Let me just pull that up and show you what the finished piece looks like. This was about the EU member government's refugee policy. The policy in general has been to just make them as miserable as possible. There was the footage of the Hungarian TV camerawoman tripping that guy carrying his kid who were trying to escape from the camp. Actually, I'm having like 2 different feelings at the same time. I'm feeling simultaneously appalled and inspired. I'm appalled at the government's reactions, which is to make them miserable, to send soldiers and riot police to try and beat people back at the border. But at the same time, what's really inspiring is the reactions of the people. By and large, the people have been really solid with the refugees. They've been opening their homes. They've been helping them get into the country. I'm either looking at the news or reading the news on the web or looking at my Twitter feed. I'm doodling too the whole time this is going on, and once I get something I think I can go with, I'll take the sketches and use them to refine the final art into something that's cleaner and scans better. And once I get the ink and graphite stick drawings done to scan from, I scan those into Photoshop and use some Gaussian filtering and stuff like that to make it really fat, dark line art, and kind of clean some of the rough edges up and stuff like that. And then it's auto-traced and converted into a vector object that I can work on in Illustrator, and that's where I do all my final layout and color and things like that. So the first part of the process is done the way I've done it for years, ever since I was a teenager. But then once the inking is done, it's all scanned, and all the rest of the cleanup and production and layout are done in Photoshop and Illustrator.
I used to do comics for the D.C Yippie rag called Outlaws, which, like, if you're really old, you'll probably know about that, and the Yipster Times. I think the first really big event that I worked on was the 78 White House smoke-in. Up until then, my big ambition was to get Herblock's job at the Post. This was like about 18 or 19, and he was the god there. The cartoonist has to go through the same tray full of copy to find what the big stories are and find what the big issues are and develop an opinion. And instead of, the big op-ed chunk that you see in a daily paper, you've got to crush it down. 20 seconds tops is what a lot of people look at a cartoon, even like a really heavy-duty one, like a lot of the stuff I do. You still kind of have to get in and say what you got to say and get out, like a Ramones song.
I won't apologize for criticizing, and I
Embassy Row. This is probably some of the most ponderous architecture you're going to see in D.C. outside of Capitol Hill. Oh, okay. It's Cameroon. Okay, and they're renovating it, but they're not making it into condos. Obama's ordered 300 troops to Cameroon, which I don't know. I think he's just fucking with us. I don't know what the hell he's doing. Oh, here we are. Yeah, it's really old truck here. Yeah, this is Adam's Burning Man truck. He takes the Burning Man every year.
So, what are we doing here?
Yeah, Ron. What are we gonna be doing here? I guess I want to change into a shirt I want to wear for the.
Oh, okay.
And get some coffee and have a smoke.
This is my personal home at the moment, but it's a rental, and it was the campaign office for the Canvas campaign, and it was also a place where like up to 9 people were living. And it really was like the epicenter of legalization of marijuana in DC for home cultivation. And recently we had our first harvest, which was legal. My fiance and I each had 3 plants on this back porch. And Mikey has been taking a lot of advantage of that fact. Really, he's been like getting inspired, having intimate time with cannabis plants. He's been sympathetic to the issue for a long time. I've been working on the issue for a long time. We've done a lot of civil disobedience in the past.
Yeah, I was radicalized by marijuana. I tried it for the first time and loved it. And my buddy says, well, congratulations, we're criminals now. There's a whole state apparatus now dedicated to tracking me down and throwing me in jail for smoking this plant. That's how I found out about the smoke-ins.
People were arrested wearing these shirts in front of the Department of Justice. And for quite a few years in the medical marijuana world, this image was copied and cut and pasted without his permission. The way Mikey operates, he just gives it away. So activists have been, for years, getting their posters made, getting their graphic needs done on a low budget. And the peace movement, the legalization of marijuana movement really have not had a lot of funds, but they've had Mikey's generosities.
If it's something I like and they can't afford it, it's like, I'll go ahead and do it for nothing. I've done a lot of stuff for nothing for people.
So these are filter tips. Each illustration does tell a story. We have marijuana piece. That's what the dove with the marijuana leaf is all about. And you've got sharing. You clearly have a joint rolled. Someone's handing it to someone. It's not lit. It's like truly sharing. So we have this sort of like maker culture emerging around marijuana, and these filter tips are really trying to recognize that. And Mikey's art, of course, you've got the Statue of Liberty. I know we're not in New York, but I mean, Mikey loves the Statue of Liberty. You'd think he was from New York. And then you've got the Capitol with the Phrygian hat on top of it, which is a little bit of lost American history. Mikey has illustrated a lot of the battles that I've been in. This whole Phrygian thing, he just ran with it. And also Andy Harris stomping all over us and this is the congressman from Maryland who tried to overturn our ballot initiative last year and leading up to the election, tried to prevent the election from even taking place. And, it was, Mikey who was putting out cartoons that were really pointed. He has Andy Harris performing surgery on DC, and like there's a dead body there.
Pictures always work better. That was like the big deal, like when Thomas Nast was one of the first really great cartoonists in America. He brought down an administration in New York City. He brought down Tammany Hall by just hammering every day in the papers with some new cartoon. Boss Tweed was raising hell about it. Like one of his things he wanted to do the most was try and stop the damn cartoons. Stop them damn pictures is what he said. My constituents can't read, but God damn it, they can see pictures.
Like Mikey's art isn't mainstream, I think, for a lot of reasons, but one of them is that Mike Flugennock's too radical for commercial.
Well, it's not my real name. It's a pen name. There's the part that does all the, the brochure and for the client, for the this and the that, and all that kind of straight design. And basically the Mike Flugennock part, the Batman part that I can just kind of keep off to the side and change into, like, when the bat signal goes off. I don't bring that up when I'm doing work for straight clients, because that's as myself, that's like, that's Bruce Wayne. As Bruce Wayne, that's what I do. Until it's time to slide down the pole and, like, jump into that pimp-ass hot rod and take off.
On one hand, I'm putting him out there. He's a radical. He uses a lot of blood. He'll show dead bodies in his cartoons and, dead children and just like really graphic stuff. But then he'll turn around and do something like he did for the cannabis campaign that said, come out of your closet without giving away your secret.
In the course of getting hooked into the yippies for marijuana prohibition activism, it helped me also get hooked into a lot of other issues that I'd been following at the time. People were just starting to discuss legalization and things like that. Only at the time the yippies first got started, marijuana penalties were still pretty rough. If you do a little research, you'll probably remember the case of a fellow named John Sinclair, who was sentenced to 10 years in prison for 2 joints. And it became a big cause célèbre with the yippies and a lot of the other left. Nuclear power was getting to be a big issue, and El Salvador, people were still trying to figure out what the deal was with Chile and Pinochet. In the course of that, I got involved in anti-nuclear work and peace movement kind of work. It's just kind of funny when I think back that all the activism I've been involved in and all the activist media and things like that basically all started because a cartoonist buddy of mine back in college said, "Here, try this. It'll be really easy to think of funny stuff." This is the sketch that I've been tweeting and emailing around. I direct messaged Adam a copy of this. I think he's still in Palestine right now, and when he comes home, he goes on trial for giving a dirty look to a congressman or some shit. So I can't really wait around too much because the event starts on the 20th, and I want to have something knocked out by beginning of next week at least. So I've gone ahead and started on this. This is going to be my Rick Griffin tribute. I've done a lot of pieces that parodied iconic images or famous art. I've done Delacroix, I've done Daumier, I've done the Iwo Jima statue, and I just realized one great artist I hadn't knocked off yet was Rick Griffin, who pretty much defined the San Francisco 60s underground comic style. That's his famous Grateful Dead album cover.
There's been a lot of action across the states, across Colorado, of course, California, Oregon, Washington. D.C. legalized just this past year, and there's been some noise going on in state legislatures. Vermont, I think, is taking a look at it, and I think New York is starting a push, if I remember right, and plus a lot of public sentiment is starting to shift in favor of legalization as well.
Reschedule 420! Reschedule 420! Deschedule 420! Deschedule 420!
Well, what this is here today was supposed to be a national protest to reschedule cannabis, which the DEA currently has scheduled right up there with heroin. And the original plan was to bring the giant inflatable prop joint onto the street here in front of the White House. But there's a big security hassle.
We really thought you were about to let us in just now. That's what it looked like. DC police told me that they didn't care about this at all.
But Secret Service has got to bug up their ass about it, so they're not letting it come on.
Can you please explain to me why this barricade is here?
I would refer you to reach out to GPA with the Secret Service.
The first major event I did any kind of poster for was the Yippies annual National White House Smoke-In, which was held the week of July 4th. at Lafayette Square here in front of the White House. And that one, if I remember, we had 50,000 overall. I don't think the park would hold 50,000 people, but the March to the DEA overall, I think, ran about 50,000 that year. It was one of the bigger ones, but this park was just packed full of people, just wall to wall, like from the stage back, and everybody here was smoking weed. I mean, like damn near every soul. It was just amazing, the 6-foot level haze layer that you could encounter by walking through here, and nobody bothered us. I mean, we didn't have a giant inflatable joint, but nobody bothered us. You know, we had our concert, we had our rally, and all that kind of stuff.
Now, the Democrats are probably a worse threat to the left than the GOP is, because they're the ones that pretend to be on our side all the freaking time. And, you know, a lot of the kind of straight progressive left keeps falling for it. You know, this is the choice we've been getting since, and when was this, 04, and it's a choice we're still getting. It's like, you know, you want to be shocked in the left nut, or do you want to be shocked in the right nut?
Not to trivialize anyone else's situation anywhere, but right in that moment, I was like, please stop the torture.
I don't know, a lot of it is outrage. Like, if you look at it, I think the overarching attitude would be, you know, fuck this shit. You know, I've had 4 years of art school education, and right in this moment, the most articulate response I can come up with is fuck this shit. But that's what basically goes into a lot of this stuff.